Happy St. Patty's Day. We'll see if the bars close green or not. But so far, equities are trading slightly lower. Let's kind of zoom in from the long-term view and jump into the more recent view. Now, if we take a look at the top chart, this is the weekly SP 500. Obviously, we know we have these bearish signals. We have bullish signals. We're still in a bullish signal, but what is happening right here is the same as what happened right over here. And actually, it's even worse from a technical standpoint. There's a lot more breakdown, a lot more momentum to the downside, believe it or not. And if we take a look at the CGS strategy on the bottom, or the ACS strategy, you can see we got this leg down, breaking a whole bunch of pivot lows through here, very similar to this one right over here, where it broke down and broke some pivot lows and really kind of flushed the market out. And that's when the tide changed to a downtrend for about a year. So that's kind of where we are in a nutshell. Lots of damage being done. Everything is oversold, and we're kind of primed and ready for a bounce. And the big question is it a bounce, or is it going to be the start of another leg higher? And no one knows, and we just have to take it one bar at a time. So let's take a look at the cycle analysis. Based on multiple cycles and blending them together, we get a complex cycle wave of bias of telling us majority of short-term cycles are bottoming, and we should see the market rally up into about March 31st, somewhere in here. I say rally, but I mean more so we should see it bounce and move higher. How high? I am not sure. It might want to just come down to, or more or less come up to somewhere this level here, maybe through this level right here. For a couple reasons, I just picked those visually because this is a very significant level. It was a pivot low. We have multiple pivot lows, and there was price chopped above here with big volatility. Then it broke below it and hit its head. So this is going to be one level, about the $583. Another level here is this little cluster high. Plus, we've got a bunch of lows and price trading through here. This seems like a short-term pivot as well, which is 6,000, which is a whole number for the SP 500 and 600 for the SPY. And naturally, people will say, if it gets back to 6,000, I will get out of my position, or I'll short it and create selling pressure. So we'll just have to see where that goes. From where we are right now, that is a 3 to 6% rally or bounce. And then we'll go from there. So overall, that's kind of what we're looking for in terms of the short term, is a bounce. And then we need to digest and see how strong that bounce is from a technical momentum standpoint, or if it really is just kind of a dead cat bounce before we sell off and go down even more. Now looking over at the SPY, you can see obviously here's a zoom in of the daily chart. Lots of momentum to the downside. The fear and the selling has gone deep, deep red. So a lot of damage, and definitely people moving to the sidelines. If we go and we take a look all the way down to our 30-minute chart, we can see here we had some pretty big FOMO on Friday, closing at 6. It was all the way up to about 10 or 11 intraday, telling us that everyone was piling in, lots of shorts covering. They didn't want to be short for the weekend. We do have a big gap on this chart. Gaps tend to get filled, and we're going to have some pretty big volatility, I think, this week. And maybe this gap doesn't get filled today. Maybe we see the market have that 3 to 6% rally and then come back down and fill the gap later on its way for another leg down. I'm not sure, but we definitely have FOMO, and everybody was piling in, and we have a gap. So it'd be very interesting to see how this plays out. Markets are down about 0.5% or 0.1%, depending on the index. And money is kind of flowing out of stocks, out of bonds. Gold is flat. Silver is negative. Really, the only pocket having a bit of money flow into it is the bond market. So we're seeing bonds move up a little bit, kind of building out a bull flag pattern here. And then also we're seeing oil move up a little bit. And it's putting in what looks to be a little bit of a bear flag. It's coming up to this breakdown level through here around the 68. It's also the 20-day. So we'll see how that plays out over the next couple sessions, if it wants to build a bear flag and reverse and sell off, or maybe build up a little bit higher towards the 50-day. We'll just have to take it kind of one bar at a time. Let's take a look at energy stocks out of curiosity. They're probably trading higher. They are trading slightly higher. They had some nice momentum there on Friday to the upside. Pretty much everything did. And we're seeing that pop and move. So it's holding its ground. But overall, when we look at The 30-minute chart bars are red, telling us the trend is down. We actually had a sell short. SS is still sell short signal, meaning it's in a downtrend. It is up at resistance. It's overbought, and coincides with our FOMO indicator as well, telling us overbought. So sellers could very quickly step back in here to the energy space and see energy stocks sell off. So it'll be interesting to watch how that unfolds this week as well. In the grand scheme of things, if we go take a look over at gold, gold pushed up to some new all-time highs. It is testing that 3,000 level. And if we take a look over at silver, it's had a very nice run as well. It's pushing up to some recent highs that we saw back last October. And miners had a pretty good move, lots of volatility. They're pushing up and hitting the highs that we saw back in October as well. So there's definitely a movement towards the precious metal space, which we can see on our hot list. Silver miners, gold miners, COPEX, utilities and energy stocks kind of are the ones that have a little bit of life in them. And the rest of the markets are just money's bleeding out of them. Longer term trends are down, shorter term trends are down. And it's just not an ideal market condition for equities. Although I think if the market does have a bounce, we're going to pretty much see them all bounce to some regard. Other than that, that's kind of about it, I think. Not a whole lot. Let's see how today kind of picks up, how things shake up, and we'll go from there. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.